They thought they could enslave a prince, but he chose rebellion. Imagine a life of royalty, of power and respect in the heart of Africa. This was the world of Prince Klaas, a man born into a lineage of kings. His days were filled with the traditions of his people, the weight of a crown he was destined to wear. But history had a crueler fate in store. In a brutal twist, this prince was torn from his homeland, stripped of his title, and bound in chains. His world of gold and honor was replaced by the cold, hard reality of the slave trade. He was no longer a prince. He was cargo, destined for a life of forced servitude across the Atlantic. This is the story of how a king was made a slave, and how that slave chose to become a king once more. The journey across the ocean was a nightmare, but the destination was its own kind of hell. Prince Klaas arrived on the sun-scorched shores of Antigua, a British colony in the Caribbean. His new home was a sprawling sugar plantation, a place where human beings were treated as tools to harvest the sweet poison that fueled an empire. The work was back-breaking, from sunrise to sunset under a relentless sun. The crack of the overseer's whip was the daily rhythm, and the air was thick with the smell of sugarcane and despair. Many were broken by this life, their spirits crushed under the weight of endless labor and casual cruelty. But Klaas was different. He was not just a man, he was a prince, a warrior. The fire of his lineage burned within him. He refused to be broken. His defiance wasn't loud or reckless at first. It was in his eyes, in the way he carried himself, a silent refusal to surrender his inner nobility. He worked harder than anyone, his physical and mental strength earning him a grudging respect, even from his captors. This strength did not go unnoticed. He was intelligent, a natural leader, and soon he was promoted to the position of head slave. This role gave him a measure of influence over the other enslaved people, a small degree of authority within the brutal plantation hierarchy. His enslavers saw it as a way to control the workforce through him. They were wrong. They had not given him a leash. They had given him a platform. For Klaas, this was not a promotion. It was an opportunity. As the sun set, casting long shadows over the cane fields, a different kind of work began. Under the cover of darkness, secret meetings were held in the hushed corners of the slave quarters. By flickering candlelight, a plan began to take shape. Whispers of freedom turned into strategies for war. Klaas, with his natural authority and strategic mind, became the central figure of this growing movement. He spoke of their shared heritage, of the life they had lost, and the freedom they could win back. He united men and women from different tribes, forging a single, powerful identity. The Coromantees, named after the West African port from which many had been stolen. In a hidden glade, deep within the island's untamed interior, a sacred ritual took place. Far from the eyes of their masters, the rebels gathered. They were no longer slaves, they were soldiers. And a soldier needs a king. In a ceremony blending African traditions and a declaration of war, they crowned their leader. They placed a makeshift crown upon his head and hailed him as the king of the Coromantees. It was a moment of profound defiance, an act of reclaiming their identity and their destiny. Klaas was a prince no more. He was a king, leading an army of the oppressed. The plan was audacious, born of desperation and courage. On the night of the coronation ball for the island's governor, when the white colonists would be distracted and drunk on celebration, the rebellion would ignite. Every plantation would rise at once. They would seize the forts, capture the weapons, and drive the British from their island. Antigua would be free. The night of the coronation ball arrived. The air was tense, filled with unspoken anticipation. The rebels were ready, their makeshift weapons hidden, their hearts pounding with a mix of fear and hope. King Klaas and his generals gave the final orders. The signal was to be a great fire, a beacon of revolution that would set the island ablaze. But as the conspirators waited for the signal, something went terribly wrong. The hours ticked by, and the sky remained dark. Confusion turned to dread. The plan had been compromised. A betrayal from within had unraveled their dream. Someone, seeking favor or fearing the consequences of failure, had revealed the entire plot to the colonial authorities. The crackdown was immediate and merciless. The colonial militia, armed and prepared, swept through the plantations. The element of surprise was lost, and the rebellion was crushed before it could even begin. Klaas and his chief lieutenants were captured. The dream of a free Antigua died in a wave of brutal suppression. The aftermath was a reign of terror. The colonial masters were determined to make an example of the rebels, to extinguish any spark of hope for future uprisings. The punishments were designed to inflict maximum pain and psychological horror. Klaas, as the king of the rebellion, faced the most horrific fate. He was taken to a public square, a place where his execution would serve as a chilling warning to all who dared to dream of freedom. He was subjected to torture, but his spirit remained unbroken. He refused to beg, refused to show fear. He faced his end with the same royal dignity he had carried his entire life. His sentence was to be broken on the wheel, one of the most gruesome forms of execution ever devised. It was a slow, agonizing death meant to shatter not just the body, but the very idea of resistance. Yet, even in his final moments, King Klaas denied his executioners their ultimate victory. His courage in the face of unspeakable cruelty became a legend, a story whispered from one generation to the next. Though his rebellion was defeated and his life brutally cut short, the story of King Klaas did not end on the breaking wheel. His body was destroyed, but his legacy could not be erased. Over the centuries, the memory of the slave king who dared to challenge an empire endured. His story of defiance became a symbol of the struggle for freedom and justice. Today, in a free and independent Antigua, Prince Klaas, or King Court as he is also known, is revered as a national hero. His name is honored, his story is taught, and his sacrifice is remembered as a pivotal moment in the nation's long and arduous journey to freedom. His rebellion may have failed in the short term, but the spirit behind it ultimately triumphed. He lit a fire that, though suppressed, never truly went out. So why do we tell this story? Because it's a powerful reminder that even in the darkest of times, the human spirit can refuse to be extinguished. It's about a man who, when stripped of everything, chose not to be a victim, but to be a king. His story is a testament to the enduring power of hope and the unyielding fight for freedom. Have you ever heard of Prince Klaas? Let us know in the comments below. If this story moved you, please share it so that his legacy can continue to inspire others. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories of forgotten heroes from history. Thank you for watching.